Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Agents in Action. I'm Amber Grainer, your host today, and I have Timmy Carini, our head of growth at SmythOS, who's going to be presenting our Stop the Guesswork, Start the Outreach, the secret email. So with that, Timmy, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You can introduce yourself a little bit more, tell folks a little bit about you and your secret email app.
All right, cool. Thank you. Yeah, so I am the head of growth at SmythOS, and yeah, um, I have been doing a lot of marketing stuff for the past 10 years, and it's yeah, so I'm not a developer, but this app that we're going to talk about, it's partly we're going to show you something that's possible and how you can use SmythOS, but the main thing, one of the big things is really the creativity aspect of it. So whether you're a developer or not, I'm going to cover kind of both use cases, sort of, or benefits on why you should spend the next 40 or so minutes with us, because it's going to be valuable for you whether you're a developer or not. Um, and yeah, so we can jump in. And so, like, what will you get from this? So you can see how fast you can single-handedly deploy the complex workflows, whether you're a developer or not. And your imagination will open up if you're a creative person. It's really cool because you can see how we did. I'm going to show you how a little bit of how I did what I did here, so that again, whether you're a developer or not, you can start to see what other kinds of workflows you can start to accelerate. And then practical use, we'll touch on some practical use cases for how you might want to use something like this, an app like this. Um, and the two things I want you to keep in mind during all this is like, we'll look at this app itself, but just keep in mind it's a demo app. We'll look at the app itself, but we'll also look behind how it was built. Um, and yeah, so if you have questions, I'll keep an eye on YouTube. But with 3 people watching, cool. But there'll probably be more people in Zoom as well. And yes, 4 participants. Okay, so you guys can. There's not that many people, so you can ask a question on YouTube or Zoom, and I'll just answer it during the presentation. Um, and yeah, the last thing I'll say is this is a demo app, so there's kind of restrictions on the app if you sign up and use it, which I'll show you how to use it. So if you're using the app and encounter a limit, just email. I guess you can email me or Amber, but I guess we'll put the emails at the end. Okay, so let's jump in here. Uh, so share. So let's start here. Okay. Amber, can you see screen?
I do. I see your
Okay,
screen just
great.
fine.
All right, so we are on the first screen I'm showing here is our Smith Forge program. So this is like, so again, I'm not a developer. And so this is a daunting kind of task when I was told, hey, make an app. So we also have this program called Smith Forge. And so I made an app inside of Smith Forge. So this is pretty cool. So you can check this out later. And so you can see, so here's the app. It's called Secret Email. So the app has two main features, and we'll go through how I made these and kind of why. But first, the practical use cases, it really depends on what you're doing. Now, obviously, this is going to be relevant for sales professionals, recruiters, or anybody doing kind of LinkedIn outreach or just email outreach. Basically, if you're in any kind of sales situation, especially B2B, it's going to be relevant. Now, if that's not you, stick around because you'll see how I did what I did, and you can come up with other ideas. And the two main features of the app the first one is to extract emails. So all you need to do is put a LinkedIn URL in, and then you'll get a personal email address. So a lot of times, if you're doing email outreach or even LinkedIn outreach, you might message them on LinkedIn or comment to somebody on LinkedIn, but sometimes it just stops there, right? You might find their company email address, but these usually get spammed a lot. So another route is to find a personal email address, and how you do this, we'll get into that. And the other feature here we have is it's experimental. It's not really meant to be like, I don't know. This is just me playing around, but you can actually send emails from the app. The emails get routed through like a specific domain that I own. So it doesn't really make sense. This isn't really like a production use case, but yeah, I spent like 10 hours on this app. So uh, maybe if I spend like five more or another 10, like I'd figure out how you can put your own domain and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a work in progress. But it was just kind of made to show the functionality. Okay. But the first part is actually very applicable and can be used. Okay, so that's a little bit of an overview. Just looking at Zoom for a second. Okay, cool. Here are some other apps that were just made. So there's a bunch in here. There's like maybe 30 this quarter. So it's pretty cool. You can check those out later. Quick note, if you're not a developer and you're like, how can I make an app? We do have this. It's called Deal. Like we have a deals platform. So you can go to it deals.smythos.com and you can sign up here and you can get a bunch of like free software and like, I'm telling you this now because if you're not a developer, you're like, how am I going to make an app? We have Replit here. So you can use Replit for 1 month free and save up to $120, or you can use Lovable or Bolt or a bunch of other ones. But this is one way you could use, you can get started to make an app for free right now. All right, cool. So let's look at the app and I'll basically show the app and then so I'll refresh and then we'll kind of go through piece by piece, like how it was made while I'm showing. And we got Chima from Nigeria shouting out in the YouTube. What's up, bro? All right, cool. So here's the app. This is the ugly URL. It is what it is. This is my lovely logo. So it's called Secret Email Finder for LinkedIn from LinkedIn URL. Some folks and the sales team inside of our company are constantly asking, hey, we've got these awesome prospects. We did a sales call with them, and like we're like waiting for them to get back to us. So how else can I reach them? Because these are like big people in Fortune 1000 companies, so they're very busy, right? So he's like, hey, can you find another email for me? So that's partly the genesis of this. Other practical use cases also, by the way, is you can use this immediately. Like if you know what the Dream 100 is, if you have some kind of marketing chops, Dream 100 means in your business, in your role, if you've got 100 like perfect prospects that you would love to have as a client, you have this Dream 100 list, you can be like constantly trying to give them value. And that can, and that's marketing stuff, right? But another thing that can help here is to be able to find their email address. Quick note, these are public databases. So public meaning like, you can get it. I'm not going to get into this here, but you can look at, I'll show you the databases that we tap into. But they say that they're following all like GDPR and all these kinds of things because they're grabbing the email addresses from somewhere. They were posted somewhere at some time, at some point. And yeah, so there's nothing like gray or illegal happening here. This is like all above board. Okay, so this is secret email, but it's not really a secret. It's more like just a bit hidden. But I will say, if you're going to continue here, I'm presuming that the folks here that are watching, that you're ethical. So please, the thing in marketing that matters the most is that you have something of value. So please do put a lot of effort into your product and the value that you're going to bring to somebody if you email them. Okay, great. So we got like a simple, by the way, so I made this with Lovable. So you see how small the little bar is here? That's a lot of hours of going back and forth. But honestly, this was very powerful. And again, only 10 hours. A note about this 10 hours, I will say like, it's just like anything else that you do where you're doing for the first time. The first time you ride a bicycle, it might take 10 hours for you. I don't know about 10 hours, but maybe it'll take like 4 hours for you to actually like go the first time without having somebody balance you, right? But after you do that, after that fourth hour, you can ride a bicycle for another 400 hours after that without having to go through that pain again, right? So I've gone through this 10 hours now, and I can probably make this app again or a similar one, similar functionality in an hour or two. So that's just a common thing that's true, that you go through the thing is always going to take 5 to 10x longer time the first time you do it. But yeah, but after that, you can be able to do a lot of crazy cool stuff. And honestly, like less than 1% of people really understand how to like use AI and use different tools to like really get ahead. So Jasper, you don't want to spend 10 hours? What do you mean? Jasper says 10 hours, lol. What, you don't believe me? You think my app sucks? Be direct with me, man. I can take it. I can take it. You think I'm lying, or you think okay? I'm presuming you think my app sucks, and why did it take 10 hours? I'm not a developer. Maybe you're missing it, so it's okay. It is what it is. But it's very powerful for me because then I can make stuff in like 2 hours now that are crazy. Okay, so what does this thing do? So how do we get it to go? So we're gonna sign up, and so I'll sign in to an account I already have. Um, the sign we're not going to go through the sign in because it's basic sign in. You get a magic email and you click in your browser and log in. So here we are logged in. You see the two features up here. I like this orange, it's kind of cool, and then it's orange and black. So simple functionality first, right? So it's just extract contact information, enter a LinkedIn profile. So let's do what should we these are just random people. So here, let's do I have okay, let's go to LinkedIn. So I'm literally just going to pick a random person. So let's find this guy. So I'm gonna copy his URL here. I'm gonna go back to the app, I'm gonna paste it in, and I'm just gonna click extract content. And if you're wondering about price, so okay, so it's LinkedIn URL submitted. Now it's processing the profile. Take up to 25 seconds. Results will appear here automatically when ready. No results appear. You cannot find any data. Or you already used this profile. So you can see it almost done. Between you and me, this is not like this. This is just like this is a 25-second like bar here. So usually this finishes when it's done. So I'm gonna refresh the page. So maybe we couldn't find it. So we didn't find it. So now let's look under the hood. So one part of this is we're using an app called Clay. So here we have this app. So we're using this to manage some of these the API calls. So here we have a webhook. Okay, so the app is connected to a webhook. That's you see it says waiting for events. So it is here waiting to receive a webhook. So so here you can see the LinkedIn URL is passed. And you see this is blank here. So this is basically saying that I'm not going to show this here because this will show a bunch of the emails that of other use. It's just basically what's in this column is a waterfall. So essentially, it's going to try 3 different databases. The databases are called Forager, MixRank, and People Data Labs. Okay, and it's gonna like check this LinkedIn URL. Hey, and they're gonna check those databases, send an API call to Forager, and say, hey, does this LinkedIn URL match anybody in the database? Yes, no. If yes, you don't need to do the other 2 providers. Does that make sense? And then if the first one can't find it, then the next one will. This is really powerful because now you can stack multiple databases together and then run all of them. And the interesting part in here is that you only get charged for if the database makes a positive match. So we couldn't find Manny in those 3 databases. So it says inputs missing. So this last API call that will trigger to do like to leave it here didn't get triggered because nothing happened. So let's find somebody else. Let's try Brock. Okay, Brock. So let's try Brock. We're pasting Brock in. And now we'll go to the Clay table so we can see it live happening. So you can see that the webhook was triggered. And now you see this wheel moving. So it is now running through the waterfall. Couldn't find Brock either. Okay. Let's try someone else. Let's try Ben. So this all totally depends on like how long this person's been around. Like, have they posted their like an email before somewhere so that one of the databases has grabbed it. So we've got another one here, Ben. Let's see if Ben is going to go through here. Checking the databases. Usually takes about 20 seconds to process. Nothing for Ben either. Okay. Oh, this app is terrible. Well, it's just kind of the way it goes. If you're manually checking these databases also, this is kind of the same way how it would go. So let's try Jono or Yono. You can see like the results here. It's like, it's getting maybe 1 out of 3 times, 1 out of 4 times. You see like status code 200. Let's see. Okay, inputs missing. Let's try Tamara. Oh, let's refresh. So the app is functioning. It's just that these folks, nothing is found. Okay, we found, okay, found this last one. So Tamara. Okay, so we found Tamara. So let's just close this for now. Let's go back to the app. Okay, so you can see like it just refreshed automatically. There's Tamara. Okay. Um, there she is. Okay, so that's it. So again, like it was 1 out of 5 in this case, but usually it's like 1 out of 3 or so. How we can improve this, I mean, I could add more databases in here. Also, we can add work email databases, right? So added functionality, we can do more emails, right? And also, this is a very one-by-one thing, right? It's not like you can just upload. You can't upload yet like a list of 1,000 contacts. Again, that could be a future functionality, but this is how it is for now. So this is really made for like kind of a smaller scale stuff. If you're thinking about cost, usually on average, depending on which database it hits, we're looking at about 8 cents here, which is 8 cents per email. So, you know, if your service is $8,000 and you can find somebody's email for 8 cents and then, you know, you get a sale from that, that's pretty awesome, right? One thing to keep in mind in business is always remember the economics, because if you only look at the siloed things of, oh, 8 cents is expensive, that is actually true. 8 cents for one email is expensive, right? Usually you can get work emails for around 1 cent or less, but a personal email, like a non-work email, is a little bit harder. So it is more expensive. But again, you always got to look at, am I selling something for $8 or 8,000? So don't always just look at one thing like in a narrow scope. Always look at the full throughput value of what you're doing. Look at everything at the beginning and everything at the end. And also, it's not just like, oh, 8 cents for the email, and then whatever you're doing, you know, sales, all this kind of stuff, this processes, these apps, tools, whatever you're using, and then close the sale. Maybe you have a sales commission, and then you have deliver the project, right? COGS, cost of goods, cost of goods and services, right? And then that's like, so if you have 8,000 as the front end, but then you also have lifetime value, right? So if you continually sell this $8,000 package to that same person, maybe the lifetime value is $48,000, right? So a single 8 cent email could have, like, if you look at this pipeline, right? Can you guys, can you see me drawing on the screen, or maybe not? I think it's browser. I think it's just a browser. But yeah, if you think of like a chain, like you know, you guys all heard the saying before, right? Like the chain is only as strong as its weakest link, right? So in the same kind of thought process, your sales process, your sales chain, can, you know, is only as strong as the weakest link. Yeah. So if you miss out on, you know, 20% of people's emails that you're trying to reach out, if you know, you could have just spent 8 cents and then it may turn into a $48,000 deal, something like that, right? So always keep in mind the full economics. Okay. So this is the clay part. So this is this feature. Now you also have the second part. So again, this is just to test functionality, to test myself. But here you have the email sender. So this is email sending capabilities with advanced features. So we can take the two here, and obviously we can take Tamara's here, right? But we're not going to annoy Tamara, right? So one cool feature is you click down and you can get the people that you just found. Right? Not gonna annoy her though. I'll not annoy myself. Actually, we'll just do my SmythOS email. So you can see how this from area is grayed out, which is pretty cool. It says fixed. Happy birthday. Thank you. You're great. Okay. So we're just going to send a test email here. So, so at first I realized that I didn't have this NSFW asterisk here. And then I realized, oh, people can just send literally anything through an email address that it's my domain. So that's definitely no bueno. So I'll show you how I did this part to sort of restrict emails only to a specific thing. It's totally random, but I got it to work. So here I'm going to send this email. Now I'm going to go and let's see. Let's go and open my, let's go and throw this for a second. Let's open this up here. Here. So I'm just refreshing here. It says happy birthday. So it opens, it says, this is the domain, right? Thank you, you're great. So just sent an email. Now, some of you out there, oh, you just sent an email, like, so what? For me, that was pretty cool. So how did that happen? Um, so yeah, so for that part, so now we have we use a SmythOS agent to manage this part. So here we have my agent, and it says production email sender agent for secret email. Streamline agent designed to send emails via a dedicated API. And I'm like, so this is like the agent's instructions. So if you're using like Claude or ChatGPT, um, this is almost like system instructions for this agent. Now, if I say something that is incorrect, I apologize in advance because like I actually laid in bed and sat there and thought about all the different stuff that I've learned over the past 2 years with AI. And it's like I sat there and just like listed things out in my head for like 5 minutes. And they're all acronyms like AI, LLMs, RAG, you got MAS, multi-agent systems, and it's just like APIs, JSON, and I'm just like all these things, and it's just like stacks and stacks and stacks. And so sometimes I might say something wrong. Okay, all right. We're using 4.0 Mini. You're an agent that helps users send emails. Okay, so first thing we'll do is we'll look at the logs. So I have that here already. So let me refresh. Okay, view logs. So this is pretty cool with the Smith agent. You can see every single like run that the agent made. So you can see here the endpoint. We're going to show the agent in a second, but here's the only API endpoint that it has, and then you have the payload, right? The email address, the from, which is fixed, the subject, and then the message. And then you got time. I'm on Asia time, so here we are with this time. So you can see the other logs from before they tested stuff out. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So let's get into this part. So in a similar fashion, like that we showed the clay table being called with like a webhook. Here you have the agent that this endpoint is waiting for instructions, right? And so we also have so before I didn't have this part, the safety validator and the output control, and it was just like an API endpoint and then send email. And we're using this tool called resend, which is pretty cool. So without the two middle blocks, it's just like simple API call to resend, which is this this tool here. I just signed up for free. You get like a certain I don't know, a couple of thousand emails or something for free, and very easy to set up and integrate. I didn't mention this before, but we're using Supabase, and the reason why I didn't really say anything about this is because I literally didn't have to do anything. Like I know I'm jumping around, but hopefully this makes sense. Like in Lovable, I use Lovable, and it just says connect your Supabase, and I literally just like connected it. Like that's all. I didn't do anything else in Supabase except say like, hey, let's use a Supabase edge function. How did I know how to do that? That comes into the like ideation phase of how you're building something. So before we end this, I will talk about the ideation stage after we talk about the end here. So Lovable, Supabase, Clay, and SmythOS was really the only things that were used. Oh, and Reset. That's it. Okay, so we're going back to the agent here. So what happens here is oops. So what happens here is we have the validator. So it says make a generative AI request to be in a model, work with input types. So if we look at the settings here, so here's the prompt. So I just gave it the prompt, like I'm just saying you're a restriction model, like your purpose is to restrict. And it takes the variables from the step before, so the two from subject and message, which are found from the input from before, right? Which is literally the inputs in my app, right? Check, and then this is the part that you can obviously is malleable, right? Only text is allowed, no links, nothing NSFW, nothing malicious, no URLs. your job is on the line, you must be 10 and 10 strict because that's something that works a lot if you say. Um, this is some other stuff trying to like do user management to kind of restrict this person. Um, and so then you can see here, go to settings. Oops. Then if it says if it's outputting false, then it's just doing nothing and it's not passing any of the variables. If it's true, then map the variables. And that's it. And then it passes the variables to, from, to, subject, and text. So this is pretty cool. And it works awesome. Okay, so let's, I know that was a lot of stuff, right? How I did all this in the first place, I will add, is that I used Gemini to ideate. Now, this is like the most important part, actually, if you're going to be making something like this. And even if this is even true if you're doing automations and workflows, and whether it's with Zapier or Make, or just if you're coding them, and coding apps, internal apps yourselves. The ideation part, the why, is so important. And so I use Gemini to ideate a lot of that in the first place, and then to think about like how we wanted this page to work, which features did we want, what API calls did we need to do, when were we going to use Supabase Edge function API calls, and when were we going to use a SmythOS API call. And I wasn't really good with API calls very much before this at all, but after I pretty much know how to do different things. And I got stuck, and I just went in our Discord and asked the engineers, just like anybody else can as well. Just like, hey, I don't know how to do this. A lot of stuff is just about having a mentor, give or take, like if you want to use that word, or help. So if you're doing something great, like you should probably, one of my mentors actually once said, you should always have a third of the people that you're around be a little bit like behind you, meaning they're like less skilled than you, so you can mentor them. And then you have a third of the people that you're at the same level with, and then a third of the people should be like above you in skill that you learn from. And so in this fashion, you're always learning from people that have done what you've done. You're in the same kind of mixing up with the same people at your skill, so you can bounce ideas off of it. They're at the same stage as you, and then you can also mentor other people, because then you can share your knowledge, and when you can teach something, you really show that you know it. Okay, let's see. Amber, is there, oh, I see one Zoom chat. Okay, I missed that before. Sorry. Can you make the screen bigger? Okay. I don't think there's other questions. I think, let me see. So I covered this is with Forge. And obviously, if you guys want to make an app, you can come here and benefit from all this free stuff we have. Talked about this. If you're a developer, then you can just do a lot of this stuff with our repo. It's open source. So here it is. Here's our stars, going pretty awesome lately. I went through this, both features, made this SmythOS. We went through the clay table, looked at Lovable, looked at this agent, deployments. I need to go through, looked at the agent itself. Yeah, I think that's it, Amber.
Well, while we've got you and while people are watching, and for those who are watching after the fact, one of the
Yeah,
key issues and why I wanted you to present today was to show people that you're not a developer. You didn't do this as part of your job roles and responsibilities. You did it just to see if you could build an app, and you were able to build that app. And you can see, um, people might say, oh, it didn't work, but it actually did work. And can you explain that if people were to go to SmythForge, so they go to smythos.com, they go to community, they click on SmythForge, they can find your app in there. And then if they wanted to edit the project, they could do that as well. They could take it and they could improve upon it, correct? They could create their own. All you have to do is, you can see up there in the upper corner, is try it for free, or how it
yeah.
works, and all of that. We make it super easy. So can you talk a little bit about how easy it would be from a non-developer perspective? If somebody had an open source, we like to say itch we want to scratch. So if they got an itch they want to scratch, You talked a little bit about the ideation part, using Gemini to say, I want to do this, but, or I want to do X. What does that come out as? Can you talk a little bit more about that process and how people could take your Smith Forged app and edit them themselves and make it better?
Yeah, for sure. So at this time, I we can't exactly remix the SmythForge project. We can't do that yet. What you can do though is that you can obviously fork the repo, right? That's one thing. But if you're not a developer, um, we have a lot of templates that you can remix, like agents that look like this, that you can remix the agent. But more importantly though is you can where yeah, you can go here and try the app, this URL here. You won't see edit and delete, right, because I'm logged in, but you can go to here to view it. And more importantly though is like you can see there's these two. This one I believe is, yeah, this is only 2 minutes, 2 minute overview. um, and then this one I believe is 15 minutes. Yeah, so I go into more detail on actually how I made this in here. And I go into more detail on like what I was thinking at the beginning and how did I start this idea. And like, so I go into a little bit more detail here about also about the ideation phase. But yeah, the most important thing is like, um, is that ideation phase actually. And um, you can use AI, you don't have to, but it kind of doesn't make sense to not um, use it to help you. And you can ask things like if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you can be asking it like, here's an idea for a project, and then you say like, what's the structure of this API call, and things like this. You will get more information from here and here. Also, if you want to see more about that ideation process, I would go to I would go to the first post. Hang on, how do I get there from here? Give me 1 second. Let me just go to the admin area, and I will link you the first project in Smith Forged. Yeah, project 2. So here you have this one. So if you really want to do this, head to this URL, project/2, and you can see. Actually, sorry, hang on. Forgive me, that's the wrong one. I want the second one. Let's see.
While
Record
Timmy's
content
doing
script.
that and he's looking for that,
Yeah.
I want everyone to also notice that there's a lot of contributions to Smith Forged. So if you can think about it and you can plain text put in there what you want, just try it for free. And you can type in and for our SaaS offerings, you can type in there, I want an agent that helps me predict lottery numbers and see what it comes back with. You you're only limited by your imagination, and we make it super easy for you to do that. And in our free SaaS version, you get up to 5 prompts a day, I believe. We
Yeah.
do have other plans that you can use, but the idea of this is so that you can see Timmy had an idea, he created his own app, and now he's sharing that app with you. It is nowhere near, as he's pointed out, this wasn't meant to be an enterprise level app. This was meant to get you um, to think creatively and think about what solutions that you want to create and how we can help you with that. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, perfect. So here's the one. This is sort of like the flagship, um, sort of like first SmithForge app that we did, that Taylor did, with help, but with Alexander DeRitter, our CTO and co-founder. And so you can see this first app goes from ID to plan. It's an hour long. So I'll tell you what, this is a free, like, it's kind of amazing that this is free. You see, like we go through this Google Doc, it's like, this is insane. Like, I think I was sitting and watching this happen also. I think we did this for like 2 hours. And it was just going back and forth with from the like the during the ideation phase. So there's a lot of gems in here that are like API structure. So let me make this bigger. You can see this document. You see all on the left, like V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Like it's pretty awesome. Um, so there's a lot of gems in there as well. And you can see like there's some CSS process, but this is a lot. So we did make these smaller tutorials. That's why you'll see on a lot of the Smith Forge project, you'll see like a 3-minute tutorial and a 15-minute tutorial. But if you really want to go deep and you're really serious about this stuff, like this ideation phase is really powerful because this should cut down. If I didn't see this, it might have took me 40 hours. I might have not even been able to finish, to be honest. That's how powerful that part is. Um,
And then,
what
Timmy,
else?
can you go back to
Yeah,
Smith Forge for just a second? Uh, over
yeah.
to the where we can see the
Project.
contributions. Yep.
Yeah,
So as you can see, if you'll scroll just a little bit down where they can see products, top products and stuff, you can also see the categories that people submit. And I can tell you that most of these submissions are not from SmythOS engineers and they're not
yeah,
from SmythOS employees. They're from community people who've either contributed, who've either been part of our hackathons, and there's more coming up on that, or they've seen a particular app and they liked it, so they wanted to create their own, or they saw an app that was out there in the wild and it was very expensive and they wondered, how did somebody do this? And they recreated it for themselves. And so, again, I just want to stress you're only limited by your imagination. We make it super easy. If you want to use the plain language SaaS offerings, or if you want to go to GitHub, SmythOS/SRE, and do that. We've got our docs there that are fully open. We've got our SDK there. We've got our examples, everything that you need to get started from a code perspective. And write agents, we've got that. But if you really just want to stick to plain language, drop and drag sort of things, we've got that. We've got that for you as well. So we would love to hear from you. If you see this video today, or you've seen this presentation today, or you see this video after the fact, and you're inspired to create something, Timmy and I would love to know what you created. You could drop us an email. It's just Timmy@smythos.com, and it's Amber@smythos.com. So you can drop us a link and let us know that you created something. And who knows, maybe we'll feature you in your app at a future webinar. We want to highlight all the great things that you all are doing, as not just what we're doing, but what you're doing and how you're changing the landscape and how you're adding to the future, not only SmythOS and SmythForge, but agentic AI as a whole. So keep that in mind as you watch this video, and we hope that you'll visit smythos.com. Go take a look at our community, join our Discord, all of those things, and be with us and help us create help us help you create very exciting apps for people to use up there. Anything else you got today?
No, that was a great round out. No, thank you. Like Amber said, email us, and we're very responsive. So we'll look to help you out. And if we can't, and if you have a technical thing, like the engineers are in the Discord and are really helpful too. So yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And don't forget, folks, join our Discord. We're going to have our very first community meeting on October 7th. All the details are in our Discord community meeting channel. So we're starting to do that. We're also going to roll out a community repo. We want you to get involved there. And that'll have links to our upcoming Agents in Action. It'll have links to other hackathons, other meetings, and all of that. So, Timmy, again, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, everyone who's watched today, and we look forward to seeing you next week, where Raul, one of our engineers, is actually going to go through a detailed how-to with the SaaS side of things. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.